This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Ford shared a ton of information yesterday about how it will transition to EVs, and here's some of the highlights. Ford will come out with a 3-row SUV that CEO Jim Farley described as your own personal bullet train. It will provide a 300-mile range at 70 miles an hour, get 150 miles of range from a 10-minute charge, and use a battery pack a third the size of what's used today. The second-gen Lightning will have the highest manufacturing efficiency in the industry for a pickup truck, with 30% less labor and overhead cost than today's F-150. Ford is not giving up on its ICE products, and is even going to add 160,000 units of capacity. If EVs don't catch on as quickly as expected, it will easily flex to more ICE vehicles. Even so, Ford expects its ICE sales to start dropping after 2025. To improve quality, Ford is no longer testing vehicles to a set standard. It's now testing them until they fail. That started with the new Super Duty pickup trucks. Ford will not make a full lineup of EVs, but will only go into segments where it knows EVs will sell well, and it will not go head-to-head with Tesla or BYD. And starting this fall, all Mach-E's will be sold with no haggle pricing, and that will eventually be extended to all of its EVs. Ford got $3 billion out of its investment in Rivian, which is twice what it invested in the company. Ford will get back to selling 5.6 million vehicles globally as supply chains improve. Those are just some of the highlights, and we'll get into more of them tomorrow. And no doubt this is going to be a big topic on Autoline After Hours this Thursday. Not all countries in Europe are on board with stricter vehicle emission rules that go into effect in 2025. 8 countries, including France, Italy, the Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia say the tougher limits are too ambitious and that automakers won't be able to meet the targets. The new rules require onboard pollution monitoring systems, and they also limit pollution from brakes and tires for the first time. The automakers say the rules will force them to invest heavily into improving emissions, which is money that should go into zero-emission vehicles instead. But regulators say the Euro 7 standards are necessary to improve health, and they'll prevent automakers from cheating on emission rules like VW did with diesels. But some sort of compromise will be needed, and the 8 countries have enough votes to block the proposal. And that emissions fight isn't just limited to Europe. More than 150 Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives sent a letter to the head of the EPA urging the agency to roll back proposed emission regulations for 2027. The rules would cut light-duty vehicle emissions 56% and medium-duty emissions 44% by 2032. It would also push EVs to 63% of new car sales. Republicans say the goals aren't achievable and that it's, quote, deliberate market manipulation to prop up EVs. They also say the rules would benefit China since it controls most of the raw materials needed to make EV batteries. The EPA will start taking public comments on its proposal starting in July and will release a final rule after that. BYD's batteries are better than CATL's. That's an oversimplification, but it is true for the charging rate for the Tesla Model Y. Versions of the electric crossovers started rolling off the line in Berlin with what is reported to be BYD's LFP, or lithium iron phosphate blade battery. And Tesla fans have been posting about their charging performance compared to versions of the Model Y that are sold with an LFP pack from CATL. And early indications show that Ys with the BYD pack are able to maintain peak charging and overall higher charging rates over the entire charging cycle. One user showed their car going from 11 to 71% state of charge in 15 minutes. New and different battery chemistries have the potential to bring down EV prices, but they can bring on other issues as well. LFP doesn't perform in cold weather as well as other batteries, and as we learned on the most recent Autoline After Hours, there could be questions around recyclability. Chinese automakers have shown that if you can make truly affordable vehicles, buyers are willing to spend a little extra on customized versions. But this is not just limited to China. Citroen first showed off a buggy concept in 2021 of its cute little electric car, the AMG, and it was so popular it made a limited run of 50. It charged an extra 2,800 euros or $3,000 on top of the base price, which is about 6,500 euro or $7,000. Even so, those sold out so fast that Citroen decided to do another batch of 1,000 AMG Buggys, and orders kick off in June. The models feature a unique body color, tube doors, a canvas roof, and gold wheels. Mercedes-AMG is getting into micro-mobility. It's launching a new e-scooter in Europe that it says combines, quote, performance, high-quality components, and sporty elegance. But really, this is just a version of the Explorer e-scooter from Micro Mobility Systems rebranded with AMG graphics. It does come with a significantly bigger battery, which, like an electric car, boosts the range up to 40 kilometers, but knocks down the top speed to 20 kilometers an hour. No word on pricing, but a quick internet search says the version with the smaller battery sells for about €1,000. And for a full circle moment in the industry, some of you may recognize Micro. It's the same company that makes the Microlino, a new-aged all-electric version of the Isetta, which went on sale in Germany late last year. As more technology is added to vehicles, protecting them from hackers is becoming more important. But there's a shortage of talent to help protect vehicles. And that's why GM, Ford, and Stellantis are part of a consortium that created a college program to develop cybersecurity engineers. The program, which is also funded by a grant from the U.S. Defense Department, is taught at the University of Detroit Mercy and is unique because it focuses specifically on vehicles. And it's growing. Several community colleges in Michigan and the University of Arizona provide research support. And next year, the University of Michigan and Henry Ford College are joining the program as well. The Wuling Mini EV, which took the Chinese market by storm, looks like it's losing steam. The little electric car with a base price of about $4,500 was the best-selling EV in China, but now sales are taking a nosedive. April sales were down 32% compared to last year and down 26% compared to the month before. They're down 29% for the first 4 months of the year, and that dropped the Mini EV from the #1 sales spot to #6. The little electric now faces a slew of low-cost competition, and it shows how dynamic and volatile the Chinese EV market can really be. And speaking of China, Chinese automakers are ramping up EV exports to Europe, which is causing a backlash in some circles. Carlos Tavares, the CEO of Stellantis, wants higher tariffs on those imports, and Allianz, the giant German insurance company, says Chinese EV imports pose the greatest threat to European automakers. Maybe that's why BYD is scouring the continent for a site to build an EV assembly plant. It reportedly is looking for sites in France, Spain, and Germany. And by making cars in Europe, BYD would protect itself from backlash. And no doubt other Chinese automakers will look at doing the same thing. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you for tuning in.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Schaeffler, we pioneer motion.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility, manufacturing smarter, reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.